We were struggling to scale with the environment we had. We had a very monolithic code base, and we're reaching a point where when things started to grind, we would just buy a bigger server. And we got to the point where they didn't sell bigger servers anymore. So we started looking at ways we could begin breaking up some of the stuff and isolating it. And I found out about Udi Dehan through word of mouth, and through that started reading his blog, which obviously features a lot of coverage of NServiceBus and distributed architecture and stuff. And that was what sort of started me looking at it as an architectural pattern we could use. We tried it out first on one very small system, which was a mechanism for invalidating web server photograph caches based on file system events being broadcast from a central file system. That went pretty well. Had some challenges with it over the years. One of the things that we discovered sort of quite early on in the process is if you're used to, I guess, what we call real-time systems, things like web servers, email servers, where you ping something and it pings you straight back, and if it doesn't, everything's broken. Things like queuing architectures don't work like that. You need quite a different mental model to really understand the way the components fit together, to troubleshoot, configure, diagnose them. And since this is a few years ago we went through this, the tooling around those challenges wasn't nearly as mature as it is now. And so we learned quite a lot of those things the hard way and had some operational challenges about implementing it. What changed? Well, in this particular instance, the day we deployed it, our web server CPU consumption went from 100% to about 20%, which was good. It's definitely informed the way we approach sort of larger systems. It's given us the whole, both NServiceBus, the specific technology, and the whole approach of distributed systems architecture that NServiceBus allows, have both inspired a very different way of thinking about how to deliver, how to add new features to the company, new services to the company, without having to add more code to one of the existing, like I said, sort of monolithic systems. And there's a lot of very interesting stuff in there about realizing before your customer sees the product, what is the latest point in that process where you actually need to bring your components together. And when you realize that in these days you can actually do that in the browser with JavaScript, so you can deliver the illusion, or give the impression of a single holistic system, when actually you've got half a dozen different systems with their own SLAs, their own uptime, their own release process. That's really, once you realize that, it's incredibly powerful in terms of how you can approach the problems that you're trying to solve.